Two friends meet up to drink some beers and talk about past times. Not yesterday, but long ago, it's scandals, wars and crimes. From Stalin's reign to Prohibition, Tudors, Pompey, Bush and NASA's mission, Edison's bulk, Genghis Khan's rise to victory. Forget your old teacher, it's time for Pint-Sized History.
Hello there, and welcome back to the Pint-Sized History podcast for the second part of The Ancient Greeks two-part series with me, Zach.
And me, Joe. And did you guys do your homework? Did you watch Alexander the Great like we told you to last week? Tell me exactly, what was the name of the knot that Alexander the Great breaks in half in, I can't remember what the city was. I actually don't remember the name. What is the name of that knot?
You do your fucking homework.
Well, I haven't listened to that episode in so long, or rather learned about Alexander the Great in that long.
The Gordian knot. And if you knew that...
Gordian!
Oh, you
How'd you remember that?
Oh, I have a great memory. Also, I did about 4 clips about it.
Yes,
and
of course,
if you did get that right, then it is your duty to now subscribe and like and follow the podcast and review 5 stars because you did well and we like that. So do some good stuff for us. Yeah,
we appreciate you for doing your homework, and I hope you enjoyed. I hope you didn't cringe as well, because that was a year and a half ago, and I feel like we've changed a lot since we were doing those early episodes. So hopefully it wasn't too cringe.
Yeah, when
I feel like I might struggle to watch them.
I did say when a few weeks ago, didn't I, when we were doing the Irish Potato Famine episode, that, going back to like the beginning of our podcast and watching our first few episodes, it's like a different world now.
It's tough to watch.
So different. Yeah. Like I guess we always use notes, but like they're like right there in camera shot, like staring at them, and that never really changes, I guess. But like our charisma and our natural, presentational skills. I'm burping as I say that.
He says as he stifles a huge burp.
I've got
our presentation skills.
We did good. We are so much better now.
Thank you again to Dion from Perth for suggesting that we do this. It's a lot of fun to talk about such a fun. Also, this is 5,000 years ago is the furthest back we've done in any pod, so it's pretty cool to go this far back into history itself. Will we go back any further? I don't know. But here's a quick recap.
Dinosaurs,
is that funny?
Dinosaurs one day.
Oh yeah, well, dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I think will probably happen eventually. I don't know. Will they? Maybe. This is the recap of what we talked about in part 1. If you've forgotten, we discussed the origins of civilization in the Aegean Sea, which were the Minoans, and then the Mycenaeans, and then the city-states that sprouted up. The emergence of the Greek gods, the Olympic Games and its influence around the region, and of course the incredibly dangerous Persian Empire who arrived to subjugate. So dangerous, and they arrived to subjugate the lands. So scary, and they were held back by just a small combined city-state coalition. Well, that timeline spans from 3000 BC to 479 BC. So we've done a lot. We spanned 2,521
years in an hour.
Yeah,
that feels really fun. That does.
I know. Well, I did say that we could have done a 3-part on this, but we're here now. So, but
as usual, Pint-Sized History, we do things in half measures. We don't really give any detail.
I mean, I do make the point, like we have to trim a lot of this stuff. It's really difficult to include everything.
2,000 years of fat.
I mean, there is a lot. Literally, I'd say like 90% of the podcasts we do, we have to trim some really interesting detail just because it won't fit into the time frame that we want for our episodes. And sometimes we just give up and they end up being like 1 hour, 15-minute episodes anyway. But we really do try to keep it in some sort of margin. And if I add like 5 hours, then I could tell you about like the other Persian invasions and the Greek rebuttals, because there were so many conflicts within Greece itself as well. Like Athens was against Sparta so many times. Sparta were against the Mycenaeans. Thebes was against Athens. But at the end of the day, a lot of it will just be repeating, and it doesn't change that much. I mean, it's certainly not as consequential as the story that we're about to talk about, which, like I say, if you've done your research, if you listened to our podcast in the midweek, then you will have learned all about it. And in fact, I'll tell you right now, you can skip the next 5 minutes because you're not going to learn anything new. It's just going to be us rehashing what happened in Alexander the Great. But it will still be fun because Alexander the Great is such a fun story. So, Zach, we're going to recount the tale of Alexander the Great. How do you think it begins?
It begins in Macedonia with King, what's his dad's name? Philip or something. Is it Philip?
Yeah, well done.
Yes.
King Philip II of Macedon.
King Philip II, who leaves his kingdom and his armies, which have the specialty phalanxes, to Alexander, and it's with his military genius and his strategic.
All right, okay. Well, let's not. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Okay,
But let's just slow it down a tiny bit there. Some things that are important to note. We haven't mentioned Macedonia up to this point in the story because Macedonia is considered a backwater in ancient Greece. No one thinks it's any use of anything. They just think, they're just useless little northern. It's right by the mountains. They're like, it's just a shithole. We don't care about it. It's not like the prosperous states of Athens and Sparta. So basically, you're absolutely right. Mega Chad Philip turns up, and he's got his stats in all the right places. Right? Like handsome Squidward. He's basically the sick military commander. Do you remember the name of the pikes? What they were called?
If you give me long enough, I remember, but no.
They're as tall as a giraffe, 6 meters in the air, the legendary sarissas. These are the incredibly famous, super long pikes that King Philip of Macedon integrates into his army. I mean, phalanx was already a thing in Greece and had been for quite a while, but what he did was not only did he make them super fucking long, but he also incorporated them into a really nice, well-maneuvering, well-disciplined unit, the Macedonian phalanx. And basically, no one else could deal with it. I mean, this was a huge, huge advantage he had in every battle that he had and then his son Alexander had. And like I say, if you look at the photo right now that I'm showing, you can have a look at how long these things are. I mean, they are more than 3 times our size. They're as tall as a giraffe. Anyway, he's a shrewd operator and he is a skilled diplomat. He basically unifies Macedonia, he marries into new regions, and he conquers the rest until he pretty much controls all of Greece. Then he dies, killed by his own bodyguard, we assume. His 20-year-old son, 20 years old, Alexander, takes over his entire realm in 336 BC. From there, Alexander basically says, fuck this, and takes his army past his own borders into Persian territory in modern-day Turkey, and fights numerous battles. He actually, in total, commands 9 battles, and he wins all 9 of them. I mean, there are smaller...
He's such a sick guy, isn't he?
Yeah. He's got a 100% record. I mean, there are other smaller skirmishes, but we consider 9 major battles.
Undisputed.
Yeah.
GOAT.
He is. Yeah, I mean, he literally is an undefeated champion. He conquers, and by the way, this is what makes the story so ridiculous. He conquers the biggest empire the world had ever seen, the vastly, vastly bigger Persian Empire. He conquers it. His empire, by the end, stretches from India to Bulgaria to Afghanistan and to Egypt. And Egypt is where he raises the very famous city Alexandria in his name. And yeah, like I say, it's a terrific story. I think it's one of the most fun topics I've researched doing this podcast. So I recommend, if you are interested in it, to just go and Google Alexander the Great yourself, because the story itself is hilariously cool.
What about the Korean War, Joe? Why do you give that some love?
Well, I didn't research that. You researched that. So how could I say that? What do you mean, give it some love? You researched
What's the shit one you've done? Hang on.
What's the shit one I've done? Yeah, go on. What's the shit one I've done?
Oh, fucking hell. There's too many to count. Ooh, what's your most recent one? I can't even remember. Fuck me.
American Revolution.
That's boring as fuck.
You loved it. You started that by going, God, I think the American Revolution is so boring. God, I hate American. By the end, you're like, that's actually pretty interesting, Joe. So
I refer back to my previous claim. Boring fucking conflict.
boring
Boring snoring.
Right.
American Revolution.
We'll quickly go back to Alexander then. Alexander has now conquered all of the known world in his eyes by 30 years old. And at this point, he weeps because there are no more worlds left to conquer, which is the very famous quote that is associated with him.
Who wrote that quote?
Now, if I remember correctly, that quote we thought was written by someone really clever, but actually it just came from... No, it came from Die Hard. Do you remember? Alan Rickman says it.
Oh, no, you are right.
It's such a brilliant quote that you assume it's like by some genius philosopher, but actually it's just by the writers of Die Hard that gave it to Alan Rickman. Now it's time for another quiz question, Zach. I just talked to you about how Alexander the Great fought in 9 major battles and didn't lose a single one. So here's a quiz for you, and I have a feeling you're going to like this one. I want you to tell me who are the top 10 best military generals of all time according to statistics.
Statistics? Is it like battles won, battles lost?
Yeah, so this is really... I found this website. It's really
loose.
Cool.
This is fucking loose.
No, it's not. Well, it is loose. This is one guy. But listen to this. This is actually really hilarious. So this guy, I found this website. This guy has moneyballed warfare. He's essentially taken statistics. He's taken statistics from almost every major battle on Wikipedia and from thousands of military leaders and run them into data with a system that gives them a war score. So
really?
I guess it's done by like the numbers that you're against, your chances of victory, the amount of battles you do as well, and your win loss
I might be
percentage.
able to
So
get
all
a few
that
of them
stuff.
then.
Well, there's a conclusive top 10, and obviously this list isn't perfect, but let's see how well you can do.
Okay, so Alexander
Is 10th. Alexander the Great is 10th.
Genghis Khan.
Yeah, so this is the one big mishap of his list, and he mentions that he thinks it's a mishap. It's because there isn't enough data that shows what he personally commanded on Wikipedia. So he admits that Genghis Khan probably should be on this list, but he's not actually on there. So that's a fair one to guess, but he's not in the top 10.
Okay, interesting. Napoleon.
Napoleon is number 1.
Okay, Horatio Nelson.
Good guess, but Horatio Nelson is not in the top 20.
Okay, Bernard Montgomery.
I think Monty is in the top 20 or top 30, but he's
I'm
not.
not getting anywhere near, am I? Okay,
He is
Caesar.
not in the top 10. Julius Caesar is number 2, second.
Okay, number 2. Oh god, who's number 1?
You said number 1, Napoleon. I said
Napoleon's number 1. Okay, who's number 3? Okay, Admiral Yi.
Good guess, but again, Admiral Yi is not
Really?
in the top 10.
Fuck
In fact, I don't.
me.
He was miles off it. I don't even think he's like top 30.
Is there quite a few in the top 10 I won't know?
There are 5 people on this list that we have done podcast episodes that feature them.
Okay, Zhukov.
Then there's a few more that you might know later on. Zhukov is 9th.
Rommel.
Rommel is not in the top 10.
Okay, is there a German World War II commander there?
Zhukov is the only World War II general.
Oh wow, really? Okay.
Yeah, well, I'll quickly say the reason that he explains this is that in general, modern warfare doesn't lend itself to this because there's not that many battles that you personally command in modern warfare, unlike back in the day.
Okay, Henry V.
No.
Really? Fuck off. William the Conqueror.
No English kings in there.
Any Norse kings there?
No Norse. No.
Oh my god.
I'm looking at this list and there is at least 2 that I think you should get.
Oda Nobunaga.
Oh, actually, you know what? So Oda Nobunaga is 11th.
11th. Fuck me.
And interestingly, and I don't think you're going to get this, interestingly, he fought against someone that is on this list.
Takeda Shingen.
Wow, good guess. Well done.
Come on.
I mean, it's not a guess because I just told you that he fought Oda Nobunaga, but Takeda Shingen is 4th.
Yeah, Takeda Shingen's a sick cunt. Okay. With George Washington.
George Washington is close. I think he's in the top 20, but no.
Oh
he's
my
not
god. Fuck me.
or top 25.
Okay. Who am I missing? Loads, obviously, but
So I'll tell you who you're missing.
How about Octavian?
Octavian again. Augustus is in the top 20, but he's not in the top 10. You're getting a lot of the top 20, which is pretty impressive. So let me just say what numbers you're missing. You're missing 3rd. You're missing 5th. You're missing 6th. You're missing 7th, and you're missing 8th. I will tell you
a few of them.
I'm certain, or almost certain, you won't get 5th. But you do, and I don't think you'll get 8th. But you do know the names of the other 3. One of them we have talked about on this podcast.
Oliver Cromwell.
Oh, good. That's a great guess on Oliver Cromwell. Again, he's not. I don't think he's top 20, but he's right. He's close.
William Wallace. Robert the Bruce.
No Scots. I'll start giving you some hints. There is one Brit on here, not Charlemagne. There's one Brit on here, and you have not gotten.
One Brit I haven't got. Churchill.
Churchill didn't command any battles, did he?
Elizabeth I.
You have to be a military general, someone that commands an army in a battle. Elizabeth I was the queen, and Churchill was the prime minister, but they did not actually command these battles.
Who was that World War I general?
I'll tell you now that the World War I general that you're trying to think of is in the top 20. He is not in the top 20. Do you want me to say the name?
Is it Auchinleck I'm thinking of?
It's Douglas L. Haig.
Oh, okay, all right.
And he's 20. He's in the top 20.
Oh, Hindenburg?
No.
Fucking Ludendorff?
No.
Kaiser Wilhelm? Otto von Bismarck?
No, Germans. Yeah, no Germans.
Mark Antony?
Not Mark Antony.
Who was the Pompey? Not Pompey. It's not Pompey, is it?
Pompey's a good guess, but it's not him.
God, I'm losing it now. I'm really losing it.
You are losing it. But it's a fun one, so you want to continue, and I want to continue.
I want to keep going. I really enjoy it. This can't be confusing for our listeners. This can't be a good podcast.
It's fun though. This is a fun question for our military brains.
I don't know. I want to go with like some fucking Aztec leader, like what's his name?
Not an Aztec.
No. Who's the main guy I'm thinking of? Anyway, just for my own benefit. Who's the Spanish guy that conquered the Aztecs? Is he on here? No, he's not. Can you give me a country, please?
So there are 5 left. 3 of them you know. One of them's a Brit, like I told you. And I actually did think this was one of the ones you would get because he's a pretty famous British general. One of them is an American. One of them is from the Roman period. Those are the three I think you should get. One of them is Prussian, which I'm not sure you'll get, and one of them is Islamic. I don't know which region he's from the Middle East. It's not Saladin.
It's Ibn something. I know who this guy is. He's at the 1140s guy. I don't know his name, and I won't be able to pronounce it, but I know who it is. If you tell me,
but why'd you know him? Because you said Ibn is part of his name, so I'm wondering if this is the same person. Let me check.
He's basically like one of the famous Muslim fighters that propelled the Crusades.
Oh no, then you're wrong.
Hang on, was it? Is it Khalid ibn al-Walid?
Well, yes, it is, but that's not someone that was fought in the Crusades. So you've just cheated that.
He was the guy I was thinking of anyway.
No, but you just said wasn't. You just said some guy in the Crusades.
Okay. The Roman bloke is it's the other guy that was part of the triumvirate, right? Was that not Pompey? I said no. I'm going to go through loads of. He's not Roman. You said he's a Roman commander.
Roman. He's from the Roman period, but he's not Roman. Come on, that should give it. We've done an episode about it.
Oh fucking!
Oh, I've given you too many hints. You've got to know it from that.
Is it a Gaul?
No.
Is it a Visigoth?
You're too far ahead.
I don't know. Just tell me them all. I'm really disappointed in myself there.
You are disappointed. I'm disappointed in you as well there. So let's go through these because I know exactly the reaction you're going to give with some of these. So I'm going to go through the 10 from 10th to 1st. So, and with a little bit of stats on all of them. So obviously 10th is Alexander the Great. As we said earlier, 9 victories and he won every single one. I believe in this list, he is the only person that won every single victory, every single battle he was in. But obviously he didn't fight that many battles. So that means he's a bit further down the list. 9th is
Hannibal Barca.
Yeah, he's done it.
Yes!
He's got it. It's Hannibal Barca, who I'll get to in a second. Fucking hell, finally gets there. Jesus Christ. 9th is Georgy Zhukov, who obviously the most famous of his victories was Stalingrad, but he was so powerful and so popular after how well he did in World War II that even Joseph Stalin was afraid of him. Number 8, now this is one you didn't get and I didn't expect you to get because I wouldn't have got it, is Frederick the Great. Now, Frederick the Great was the king of Prussia during the 18th century. And this is really interesting. He won several epic battles against larger enemy armies in Austria, Russia, and France during the famous 7 Years' War. So if you remember, the 7 Years' War was the conflict that basically was the catalyst to the American Revolution because we had no money after we beat the French. So basically, the point I'm saying is Frederick the Great, the King of Prussia, was actually Britain's major ally during that war. So God rest his soul, because he did God's work there. He beat back those evil Russians and French for us, and we won the war. So thank you so much to you, Frederick the Great. We should do an episode on you just for that. 7th, and this is one you probably should have got, even though you're not really interested in this part of history, is Ulysses S. Grant, the leader,
I should have got that.
Abraham Lincoln's general that fought for what was the name of the Lincoln side? The Unionists. In comparison to the Confederacy, Ulysses S. Grant was 7th, and obviously he would later become president. Interestingly, Robert E. Lee, who was the Confederacy general that he was against, he was basically his nemesis. He had the lowest score of anyone on this list because he lost so many battles throughout the
That's interesting because like
war.
all the documentaries I've seen on the American Civil War paint Robert Lee as like an unbelievably good tactician.
Yeah, well, what I'm learning is that a lot of that, and Americans that listen to this, tell me if I'm wrong, but from what I can see, it seems like because it was so fragile, they really didn't want to piss off the Confederacy. So, for example, they let them keep the flags, which is why we still see those Confederate flags today, and they treated Robert E. Lee as a hero, even though he lost the war for the Confederacy. Now with a historical lens, what I'm learning is that actually he did a pretty poor job. And I actually genuinely saw a few like posts and comments on forums that were saying, honestly, if Robert E. Lee didn't exist, the Confederacy probably would have done better, is what they were saying.
Wasn't Stonewall Jackson a really, really good Confederacy commander?
Yeah, he was up there. So he was in that top 20 or top 30 or so. But Ulysses S. Grant, 7th. 6th was, as you've just said, Hannibal Barca, who obviously, if you don't remember the Roman one, he was the Carthaginian general that took on the Romans and famously crossed the Alps with elephants and an entire army into northern Italy and completely surprised the Romans. He is easily one of the greatest military commanders of all time, and I'm shocked that it took Zach 10 minutes to get there because he is like on every list, Hannibal Barca.
It's tough that one.
Fifth is, and this is the one that I was sure you wouldn't get, was Khalid ibn al-Walid.
Which I knew.
You said he was from the Crusades, which is why I knew you didn't know who he is, because actually he was a companion of the legendary prophet Muhammad in the 7th century. So he actually fought several victories as a general for the prophet Muhammad in the name of his new religion, Islam. That's who he was. Fourth was Takeda Shingen, who was a powerful daimyo and major rival of Oda Nobunaga,
The Horse Lords.
who was considered the greatest military commander, or at least one of the greatest military commanders in Japanese history, but he died of a sudden illness before he could unite Japan, meaning that it paved the way for Oda Nobunaga himself. Third, and here we go, this is the big one that you could not get, and he is British. Third is Arthur Wellesley, the Duke of Wellington, the man that beat Napoleon. The British commander that beat Napoleon.
I don't know enough on the Napoleonic Wars. I just don't.
We have to do that. That would have been one of the first ones I would have got. I knew that instantly. The Duke of Wellington.
Yeah.
He was so dominant. We should really do I think this season we have to do a 3-parter on either the Napoleonic Wars. I'll do it. Fuck it. I'll do that next.
Cool.
My next episode will be. There we go. Just decided. After Zach's next episode, we're going to do Napoleon. There we go. Because, that we have to do that. Yeah, he was the legendary British commander that defeated Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo. God rest his soul. Second, of course, is Julius Caesar, who, we can skip that one. Everyone knows who Julius Caesar is. We've talked a lot about him. And first is Napoleon Bonaparte. Now, interestingly, with the score system that he did in this, statistics quiz.
Because he was an artillery commander, right? So he literally won battles on his own.
So Napoleon has doubled the war score of second place Julius Caesar. He is so far ahead of the rest of the competition that and part of this is obviously due to the fact that he commanded 43 listed battles. Robert E. Lee is second, and he fought 27 battles. Of thousands of military commanders, Napoleon fought 16 major battles, more than anyone else. So no wonder. And also bear in mind, 17 of those victories from those 43 battles was at worse odds than his opponent. That's how many times Napoleon beat the odds. 17 times in 43 battles he won from worse odds. You actually said pretty much all of the ones that you could have said. The only one you missed was Ataturk. I don't know how you say exactly
Kemal Ataturk, the founder of
the founder of Turkey.
Yeah,
who fought in World War One. He was close on that list, and also Scipio Africanus, the man that beat Hannibal Barca in the Punic Wars. They were the last ones on the close calls, and that is the end of that quiz. That took us a long time, and we've barely gotten started on this episode. Obviously, as we discussed, Alexander the Great is one of the best military commanders of all time, one of the best military generals. However, at 32 years old, he still hasn't returned home to Macedonia and Greece. He's been fighting on this campaign ever since he was 21, and he wasn't going to go home. He was planning on continuing the conquering, but then he died all of a sudden in Babylon in 323 BC. We don't know exactly what it was, but some historians believe it could have been typhoid or malaria. Regardless, without an obvious successor, the empire immediately falls into turmoil. It was Alexander that was holding together the empire. Without him, it would immediately split into smaller kingdoms. So Alexander's generals all took pieces for themselves. I mean, he had a ton of generals, right? So imagine the scene. You see this legendary 30-year-old that's done all this incredible stuff die in front of you, and now you're like, what do we do? So all the generals sit together and they decide, I'm taking this, you're taking that, I'm taking this. They basically divvy up the realm into their own little pockets. So there's several of these, but the ones that we're going to focus on, because they're really the only properly important ones, are the Macedonian Empire, which was where Alexander started from, the Seleucid Empire, and Ptolemaic Egypt. But for all that Alexander achieved and then very quickly lost, his influence was so vast that it brought about the beginning of the Hellenistic period, which is the last of Greece's golden ages, where Greek values and science mixed heavily with Middle Eastern and Asian culture. So this would actually be, coincidentally, the last age of the Greeks, but we'll get to that a bit later. So, Ptolemaic Egypt, Zach, why is it called that?
Because it's the House of Ptolemy, which is the commander of Alex's armies.
Yes, so one of Alexander's most trusted generals was Ptolemy, and he named Ptolemaic Egypt after himself. He took Alexander's remains back to Alexandria. So, and he created this extravagant tomb to legitimize himself, basically, because he's like, I'm the one that has the most incredible general ever, buried beneath. So Alexandria itself would become this like world-renowned hub of science and history and beauty. I mean, literally the Great Library of Alexandria is like a great example of that, and the lighthouse as well. I mean, I wish that it hadn't all been burned down, because what a place it would be to go and visit.
Yeah,
imagine if Alexandria was
absolutely.
still standing. And the Seleucid Empire, Zach, why is that called the Seleucid Empire?
Because it's after another one of Alexander's commanders.
Yep, absolutely right.
His name might be Seleucus something. Seleucus?
Seleucus instead of Seleucid.
Sir Lucas.
Yep, Seleucus. And he created that dynasty. He started it in Babylon, and that became a really, really big empire in the region of, like, you know, that kind of Persian, Iranian, through eventually, not at the beginning, but eventually through to Turkey and, you know, basically a big part of like Asia Minor, as we call it, which is basically like that European side of Asia, where you've got like Israel and Palestine and Turkey. And so basically those are the largest kingdoms left from Alexander's generals. And those two, the Ptolemaic Egypt and the Seleucid Empire, worked together at the end of the day to take down the other regions. So at this point, you've got maybe one or two smaller regions, but then you've got Macedonia, which still controlled most of Greece, except for a few parts in the south, Ptolemaic Egypt, and the Seleucid Empire. This is in the 250s BC. And in fact, I'm going to show you a map right now so you can have a look at it. 240 BC, you can see a little green is Macedonia, the yellow is Ptolemy, and Seleucid or Seleucus, or whatever his name is, has all that blue stuff that stretches almost all the way to India. Now, if you were to zoom this map that you're looking at out right now, you'd also notice the very beginnings of the Romans controlling most of Italy. That's the point that we're at in history. And you'd also notice the Carthaginians on the north coast of Africa. In fact, if we were at this exact same stage of our Roman episode, then we are currently talking about the point where the Romans have just defeated Carthage in the First Punic War, which is not the biggest. The one with Hannibal Barca and the crossing the Alps, that's the second. So the first one has just ended at this time. It's here in the Hellenistic world that we have to talk about another of Greece's major contributions to the world. We've done the Olympics, we've done the gods, we've done Homer in the literature. What have we not done yet, Zach?
Aristotle and Archimedes and Socrates.
And what do they do?
Philosophy, the age of philosophy.
Philosophy and science. Yes, come on, Zach. Here we go. Yeah, the Greeks had so much going for them. Like, we already attribute so many things that we talk about with them, but it really can't be understated just how important their major contributions were to understanding the modern world that we live in today.
Economics isn't one of them. Fucking costing the rest of us European countries in 2008.
I was wondering where you go with that. 2008. Well, yeah, I mean, they can have a few L's. They've done so many dubs. Yeah,
one big fucking L, which costs everyone everything.
Yeah, let's go through some of their greatest hits, okay? So, firstly, and possibly most famously, Athens developed the first known recorded system of democracy. The word itself is Greek. Male citizens debated and voted directly on laws and major decisions. The Romans would... Exactly, in a forum, and the Romans would later adapt it for their own Senate, and to this day, democracy is obviously a key part of geopolitics. It's remarkable how important this thing that started in Greece has come into human history. I'll also point out that many of these things, including democracy, have happened before this point in the story, but I'm obviously putting it all together in one big nice bun here. Next one, Zach. Pythagoras, the Greek mathematician and philosopher Pythagoras gave us the first formal mathematical
proof. A squared equals B squared equals C squared.
No, come on.
That's Pythagoras, isn't it?
You missed one little equation. Come on, do it again.
Pythagoras' theorem is A squared equals B squared equals C squared.
Oh my God, you're just saying the same thing. A squared equals B squared equals C squared just means they're all the same thing. What are you missing?
X equals A squared plus B squared plus C squared. I don't know.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared. C squared. A squared.
I'm not very good at math. I like words. I like words.
You just said.
Numbers, brother.
You've legitimately just said, like, oh yeah, Pythagoras' theorem, where it's like this thing is this thing is this thing. That's literally what you just said.
I don't know. I don't know, Joe. I don't
it's
know.
The plus
I don't know
goes into equals.
What the fucking theorem is, okay?
Okay, you don't know. Well, look, let's see if you know any of the rest of these, okay? I mean, these are things, bear in mind, this is 2,000 years ago, and they knew better than you, but let's keep it going. So, here's another one. Do you know what Lysippus and Democritus theorized? Very famous. That everything in the world was made up of tiny, invisible particles called atomoi, meaning uncuttable. This is the earliest recorded atomic theory.
Oh, wow.
Although, in fairness, the ancient Indians had their own similar ideas, but...
Who cares about
this
them?
Is the first... You gives a fuck about that? That's not what I meant, but yeah, fuck it. I'm not gonna change it. Let's just keep going. So that's another one. Here's another one for you. The Greek scholar Eratosthenes, in 240 BC, I hope I've said that right, measured shadows in different cities and from it produced a remarkably good estimate of the Earth's circumference.
Very nice.
He produced the first surviving scientific calculation of the Earth's size. He theorized that it was roughly 39,000 to 40,000 kilometers. The actual answer is 40,075 kilometers. So he was within 1% of the correct statistic.
It's because they have so much free time on their hands. You know, when we're not doom scrolling
Well, yeah,
from
it's
TikTok,
awesome.
you know, these are sort of things that man can accomplish. But all I'm doing is
they're
looking
awesome.
at which fucking medieval fantasy land ending are you and bro gonna have, which I send to show every single day.
Yeah, you are something. Will you help the scholars of the watch, or will you help the blow?
Will you dethrone the king? God, that gets me fucking going. Yeah, I could be measuring the
great.
Earth's circumference hard right now, but I'm fucking doom scrolling that shit.
Talking about the Earth's circumference, it's needless to say that it was already a consensus at the time with the ancient Greeks that the world was a sphere rather than a fucking flat land. That's what they already knew. They already knew it collectively that it was.
But now
it's
come full circle. Pardon the pun. We now know it's flat.
Now we know it's flat.
I'm
sure
by
it is.
fucking NASA.
Here's another one, which is the Greek astronomer Aristarchus was the first recorded hypothesizer that the Earth rotated and travelled around the sun rather than sitting motionless in the universe. Now, in fairness to this
that goes
one,
against
most
Catholic
of
theory, doesn't it?
Catholicism was the thing then, but most other Greek astronomers rejected this idea. This is the second last one I've got. Aristotle, who was coincidentally Alexander the Great's mentor.
Yep.
Aristotle developed rules for deciding whether an argument logically followed from its premises. So his most famous system is called syllogism, and this is how it works. So there's three parts: a general statement, a specific statement, a conclusion. So for example, this is an example I've got. All humans eventually die. That's the first statement. Zach from the Traitors UK TV show is a human. And the conclusion, the third bit, is therefore Zach from the Traitors UK TV show will eventually die. That is a logical conclusion. You've learned something, you then talk about something else. That means that there must be this. Aristotle's
work.
I
have quite intense death anxiety, right? Why'd you have to go and do me like that, eh? My plan, Joe, is to live forever.
Just saying, this is the logical. Look, Aristotle thought it, bro.
I
It's not
always
me
ask
that's thinking
Carrie
this stuff.
if she could be a vampire and live for like thousands, or any vehicle, live for thousands of years, would she? She's always no, fuck that. You grow old and see all your friends die and everything. I'm just like, I'll make new friends. I'll live forever.
You'd hate it. I feel like you'd hate it, man.
I think you'd
There's
hate
a
it
logical
after
end to life.
300 years, and then you'd be like, "Oh, this kind of long."
No, I think then you're in internal damnation, and it just gets worse and worse because you feel so numb.
Well, yeah, but you're not getting older. You're still you, just like 300 years down the line.
Yeah, but you've seen so much that you just go, man. I don't have a goal. I'm just motionless in life.
Well,
as life moves.
Yeah, but you're still alive, which is the gift of living.
Well, no, but it's not the gift, because the gift of living is the fact that you die at the end. If you're immortal, living means nothing.
Pish posh. I believe
we are the Plato. This is Plato and Socrates in real time in 2026.
It's like the meme, like the gif of like the raps in the fire with the fire.
Yeah,
pen.
it's like absolute fire.
I mean, actually, you could say that intelligence has gone backwards from that point onwards. We were
close to a really profound discussion, and we've just gone straight backwards. For fuck's sake,
we have fucking Aristotle's great logical conclusions to an argument. And then you come full circle with fucking me and you going, I'm gonna live forever.
No, we were following that. We were following his system, and now we've just gone. Now we've laughed off our potential to talk about something profound. But yeah, obviously this sounds what I'm talking about with Aristotle sounds really simplistic. To be honest, it sounds obvious, but he was literally the first to formally study this and display it to the world, so that people took note of this is how you should argue certain things. This is this is a fallacy, while this is truth.
What was it like before then? Just like everyone's screaming at each other nonsense.
Well, no, beforehand, no one had written how arguments work, essentially. Beforehand, you would just argue.
It's still like bartering, isn't it? And bartering in itself is like negotiation, which is in itself argument and debate.
Well, okay, let's take this one further. An example of
this cost me 4 pence. this costs you 5 pence, you should give me 1p.
No, a better version
Is
would
that
be...
not like the basis of it?
So here's an example of one that's the other way around, where it doesn't work. So here's the first sentence. It's, all dogs are animals. Here's the second sentence. Rex is a dog. Here's the third, the conclusion. Therefore, Rex is an animal. So really,
No,
it's
I
the other.
understand that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, has it really taken thousands of years of human civilization to get to a point where we need someone to codify how to have a discussion? Like, I'm saying, what was it like before? It was just like completely loose bits of information just getting thrown into a conversation.
No, it was no one. No. Yeah, my God,
every conversation on.
You know. Honestly, for someone so clever, you are actually so dense.
You bitch.
You are actually so dense right now. Like, my God, of course. Like, no, the point is what? Obviously, it's obvious. Obviously, we know it.
You're saying that Aristotle's way is like the chivalrous way of having discourse.
No,
like it's not about like the correct way of having a discussion.
It's like the first building block of how people should debate society. And the point of it is that yes, it seems obvious, but until you have these rules about how you argue, how you debate, then it's essentially just a free for all, because anyone can say to say this comments like, oh, you know how like nowadays people go, oh, that's a straw man. That's a straw man. You can't use that in the argument.
That would be against the policies.
You can't get to talking about straw men until you have this first thing. That's the point. It's not like brilliant. It's not mind changing. But the point is, you need a starting block to then go on further. That's what makes it so interesting.
Okay, I agree. I'm glad we got there. I think the thing that's funny is that how now you can argue with someone and not have the middle. You can have I have this point and then skip the really important middle part, which is like the logical fact essence of it, and then go,
well, that's why it's so sad.
My point's right.
This is why it's so sad. This is the world we're living in, where like people just keep lying and you can't really get out of it. It's a really
Carrie recently had a conversation with me. More like, I say conversation, more like she criticised me for the way when I have an argument with people and it's they might think it's a matter of opinion, or I think it's a matter of it could be a subjective thing, but because I think I have a fact that suggests my opinion's right, it completely disregards their opinion, which I think, in my eyes, that is a fair way of doing business. Like if you have the fact and your fact suggests your opinion is right, then your opinion is the right opinion out of the two opinions.
Which is why you're exactly the bad logic that he's talking about in that second one. You're like,
I'm going
I have the be all and end all.
Views. I'm saying, I have the point.
Yeah, but the fact isn't the be all and end all. What if the fact's wrong?
Point, therefore, the point's right, and that's my approach. I don't argue things that I don't have that middle part to.
You argue anything.
Yeah, you're right.
You don't argue things. You argue everything. Literally every little thing you'll jump in.
When it comes to like actually having like a discussion with someone who like I'm having a debate with about something I know about, or it's something important, and not just chatting shit with the boys, then I will come armed, and I will think like my opinion is not just opinion, my opinion is fact.
Yeah, well, you're draining everyone's life force with all that. That's what you're doing.
Fucking hurry up and finish the Greeks. I'm done.
Well, we're not. We've got so much more. We've got another quiz to do, for fuck's sake. Finally, the final point, now that we've moved past that, is language. The final thing. I mean, by the way, there are so many things we could talk about, but the final point that I will bring up now is language. Now, you know, of course, that I love a bit of language. You also know from the Roman episode just how much I banged on about how influential and important Latin was during those Rome episodes. Well, guess what? Latin was heavily influenced by ancient Greek. In fact, ancient Greek has influence in all world languages, and especially European languages, and vocabulary, especially in science, medicine, politics, and philosophy, is just common in so many different languages. I mean, in fact, the last two words that I just said there, politics and philosophy, are Greek words. 5% of English words come from Greek origin, and they are usually the big dogs of our language, the big cheeses, the big words that we talk about in proper conversations like we've just been having a second ago. So it is time for our final quiz, our four quizzes over 2 parts. It's time for the final quiz, Zach, and let's see how well you do on this one. I have a feeling you're actually going to do quite well on this from what I've seen so far.
Me, I think.
Zach, I'm going to give you some ancient Greek words that we use today, and you have to guess how they are literally translated back in ancient Greece. So all 10 of these are 2 ancient Greek words that they put together to form a word. And the first one is aristocrat.
Aristos.
What does it mean? Aristos, and what's the other one?
Kratos.
Yep. Kratos. What do they both mean?
I would say wealthy person or like noble person.
Ooh. So you were wrong. I gave you a tough one to start because that is how you should associate them. But in fact, in ancient Greece, Aristos just means the best or the most excellent.
Oh, really?
And Kratos means power.
Okay.
So basically, power to the best of society. Aristocracy literally just means ruled by the best, as it should be. Obviously, that's actually meritocracy because aristocrats become money. And in fact, that was how it really worked. In ancient Greece, it wasn't the best. It was really the wealthy, the distinguished class. Number 2, an easy one, democracy.
Demos.
Means?
People?
Yes, demos means people. Kratos means rule of the people. Yeah, I'll give you that. That's 1 correct. Philosophy.
Philos. I mean, I'm going to just say philos and Sophie or something.
Philo is the first word. Sophia is the second word.
Philo thought or brain or something or academics. And then it was what was the second word? Sorry.
Sophia.
Feel the mind.
Incorrect. Philo means love. Sophia means wisdom. So philosophy literally means love of wisdom. Ready?
You thought I was going to do well.
Monarchy. I thought you were going to do well. Monarchy.
Monos. Kratos.
So it's not Kratos. They're really similar. So I'll let you have Kratos. Archine is basically to rule. So I won't. You don't need to guess that, but it's to rule. It's slightly different from power.
To rule royal or to rule like.
So so Monos means royal.
One ruler.
Well done. Monos is 1. I was thinking you should get that because mono is 1. That's the point of it. Right. Anarchy.
Anos.
Just Anne.
And then Arcane. Chaos rule?
No, Anne means without.
Without rule. Okay, that makes sense.
Makes sense, doesn't it? Without any rule. Next one, biography.
Bios. And graphy.
Graphia.
So, let's say word...
This is a tough quiz. I'm glad you have
written word? Or written story?
I'll give you graphia. Graphia is writing. That's what
writing
means. So
writing self, writing person, writing story. Am I on the right lines?
Bio?
Yeah.
I mean, you're right with graphia, obviously, but bios means life. So writing life.
Sense. Of course, that makes sense.
And auto, so autos means self. So autobiography means writing life self. That's where the word biography just means writing life. Microscope.
Microscope.
Yeah, means
small.
Yes, correct. Scopine is the next one. What does scopine mean?
Look or view.
Yeah, you got it. Well done. I'm giving you that. To look. That was well done. You got that straight away. To look. Micros is small. Scopine is to look. This is a tough quiz. And that was a pretty good guess.
I mean, it's theology. It's not that tough because like you can sort of like it's like when you're learning German or something like, and the word "the" is "der," like duh.
Yeah, of course.
Was is what. It's all very obvious when you put
it is a memory quiz, and we have been filming for hours now. So well, not memory, but rather it's you have to figure it out, and we have been filming for hours. Theology.
Theos. I think it was either like God or
no, you got it.
Yep,
God.
And then ology we study or whatever the logos.
Yes,
maybe.
That's right. So logos is to study.
I got the second word. Logos.
Logos the study of. So theos is God. Logos the study of. So literally the study
exactly
of God.
Exactly the same definition today. Study of
God.
Yeah,
exactly. The study of God. Thermometer.
Thermos, which is hot or heat.
Yeah, heat. Well done.
And then I don't know what meter. Meter probably is just the Greek word meter, right?
No. But you're close. Metron is the Greek word.
Okay, that's just measure, heat measure.
Yeah, heat measure. Yeah. And final one is symphony.
Sympos or symphos.
Syn is the first word, and phone is the second.
So phone would be sound, and then syn is music or instrument or collection.
Ooh, yeah, I'll give you that. It's
group
together.
Of sounds? Okay, fine.
Together. Yeah, syn literally means together, and phone is sound. So that was a real fucking brainy quiz I just gave you there. But you actually did right. I'd say you probably got about half of those. So yeah, symphony literally means together sound.
They did quite well.
Well, I mean, maybe.
You gave me quite a few.
I did give you a few, but it's the same reason why telephone is tele means far in Greek, and phone means sound or voice. That's obviously something that is a hugely influential part of
directly influenced by that. Yeah, because the fact that you can even posit a guess or suggest that they're really commonly used. Like it all makes obvious sense when you hear it. I guess it's just.
But also like when we create new words, we use those same systems. So we use like ology or bio or archy or something when we're describing something else. We've like added from it. So like Greek basically will never die because we're always in every language just using those building blocks that Greek gave us to then make new words when we need them. It's really interesting. I mean, even something like helicopter. Helos is spiral.
Oh yeah, of course, helix
or a spiral, and then copter or copter is like wings, I think. So yeah, so you see what I mean? Like those are the when we create new words, we just use Greek because it's just really useful. I mean, even stuff like the fucking the shooting off into the sky, the Apollo missions, the Artemis missions are happening right now. We use Greek all the time. And obviously the names of the planets themselves, although I think that's more Roman. But anyway, there's many more fascinating things that the Greeks pioneered. Socrates pushed people to test their beliefs and to ask difficult questions of science, politics, and ethics. Archimedes had principles about physics. Hippocrates' approach to scientific medicine. Stoicism was something that came about from the Greeks. The pursuit of happiness we heard about from the Greeks. The list goes on. And that's not to mention the Greek art, the sculpture, the famous white marble that we see all the time originated from back then, the famous Greek theatre. I mean, the phrase Greek tragedy is still used all the time to describe a tragic ending, bringing down a character or system or relationship. Romeo and Juliet, is that Greek tragedy? That's a Roman tragedy.
I don't know, it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy.
Well, I'll tell you the most famous example of a Greek tragedy is Oedipus, who tried to escape the prophecy that he would kill his father and marry his mother. But his attempts to avoid that fate ultimately caused both those events to come true.
And then he blinded himself.
Absolutely. But we're now approaching the end, which means that we must talk about the final stages of ancient Greece as the Roman Empire looms over. So we're now around 200 BC, and as usual, the different kingdoms are always warring and fighting. The Aegean Sea, they're just constantly battling it out. Now it's more empires than city-states. You've got the Macedonians, the Seleucids, the Egyptians. The city-states are still warring as well, like Athens and stuff. And there's ground gained and there's ground lost, but essentially it's still a balance of power, as it has been for thousands of years. However, right behind them is the sneaky Roman Republic, which is gaining more and more land across southern Europe. It's defeating Carthage, and it's enveloping all of Spain, all of Gaul, all of Italy. The eagle banner of the Republic is starting to cast a big shadow over Greece and the region. And the Greeks, the Seleucids, all of them lot have fought themselves out of money and energy. They are in a bad position to start trying to take on this emerging power. And if you remember my part 1 about Rome, then you'll remember me saying that basically Rome at the beginning, especially, were very, very brutal, very efficient conquerors. They would war with region after region. They would win and grow until then they suddenly picked a fight with a much larger enemy in Carthage. I mean, much larger. Like Rome was not really prepared to take on one of the biggest empires of the region, and yet they still beat them. The Romans still beat Carthage. So Macedon then tries to take on Rome like a few times, but they keep losing. And you'll see these little pieces of Balkan Greek land, turning Roman. A few years later, the Seleucids would fight Rome, and they'd also lose. They'd all suddenly start having to pay these big taxes to Rome. Like, all that region that I showed in that picture a little earlier ago of Greece, of Turkey, they'd all start having to pay these big taxes to Rome, or else the Republic would return with more bloodshed. And they had no money to pay for all of this. And unsurprisingly, because barely anyone likes this, the Greeks hate paying these taxes to foreign rulers. So they all start working together to fight back. But unlike many other times in history, the Romans are just too good. You can't fight them. They were so good at what they do.
You can't beat them, join them.
Exactly what ended up happening. They were relentless, and they were organised as well. So they would arrive in Greece each time with all these little revolts that would spring up, and they would just batter these Greek forces over and over and over, and eventually Macedonia would just fall. Soon enough, Rome would control almost all of the Greek peninsula. But the Romans were clever. Like, they were brutal in subjugating the Greeks, but they also recognized how useful, how creative, how influential the Greek culture had been. And they made a concerted effort to bring it into their own Roman culture, which is why I told you about how the Roman gods and the Greek gods, they just put them together. They essentially used it as a way to legitimize themselves with their own eternal history. That's why you get things like the Pantheon in Rome. I mean, the Pantheon in Rome is literally just a very Greek it's the big pillars. It's Greek architecture. They're doing it because it legitimizes them as something, classical, a real classical legendary status. We are the new Greece. We are Greece as it should be. Our gods are the gods. Our buildings are the classical buildings. Our way of life is the way of life. And what would end up happening through all this assimilation, all this pushing together, all this making sure that Rome was the dominant classical culture that we will talk about for millennia. That's how they treated it. This would eventually create the Greco-Roman culture. And the Greco-Roman culture is literally the bedrock of what we now call Western society, Western civilization. Like everything that has come since, Britain, France, America, the current world we live in, Western civilization literally comes from this like mix of Greece and Rome.
Greco-Roman
and their
wrestling.
cultures and the Greco-Roman wrestling and their cultures intertwining. And that is where I could end the episode, but I will quickly just do a bit of housekeeping because it's important to point out what happens with the other two Hellenistic kingdoms. The Roman general Pompey, yes, the same one from our Rome episodes, would abolish the Seleucid kingdom in 64 BC and turn Syria into a Roman province. The rest had already been taken over by Armenia and Persia and stuff, so it was only basically Syria left, and the Romans took it over. And finally, Ptolemaic Egypt has the most awesome story at the end, and we talked about this in our Rome episode, where the last pharaoh of Egypt, the 17-year-old Caesarion, the bastard child of Julius Caesar and Cleopatra, was killed by order of Octavius, the first emperor of Rome. So Octavius, who would rename himself Augustus, ends up annexing Egypt into his new Roman Empire, ending 3,000 years of traditional pharaoh rulers. In late August in the year 30 BC, Caesarion was executed, and this day is counted as the last day of the Hellenistic period and therefore the end of the ancient Greeks. The Romans are now the true kings, and Greece has now had to assimilate into the modern world that we're growing from this point onwards. So 3,000 years from the Minoans' birth on the island of Crete, we are now at the last day of the Hellenistic period, and from there, the Roman Empire, which is why you should go watch the 3 episodes on the Roman Empire right now. Enjoy a solid 2.5 hours of Roman history right after this. But that is where we'll end this podcast.
Brilliant. Well, you know what? I knew a lot of the ancient Greeks, but that was fascinating. I enjoyed that immensely, especially the bits about the gods. That was my favorite bit, I think. and the words were fun too. They felt like a real test of my intelligence. But it's fun.
I was.
It's good to be back. It's good to be back, Joe. I'm glad we're here.
I think many people would do worse at that than you did on that quiz of the. To be honest, I actually think you would do better than most people on almost all of that, except for the generals, because you really cooked yourself with the generals.
They can't do what I can do. That's why I did it. Who do you think you are? I am.
You fucked yourself on the generals, man. You really could. You were doing so well, and then the generals, you just let it all slip when that's something you should care about the most. Yeah, but
anyway.
No, it's good to be back. It's good to be back. 2 big meaty episodes to get your hands into, and then next will be
let's just end the episode.
No. What are you doing next, Zach? Come on, hype us up. What's the next episode?
I think I'm probably going to do another dictator, because we eventually do want to do that 100th episode tier listing of all the dictators.
Tier list.
So,
You've got plenty of time, by the way. We're only on episode 60? We've got 40 episodes left before you.
Yeah, we will do that fucking tier list, whether it kills me. Right. Oh, hello, Iggy. My lovely greyhound just walked into the room because Carrie's let him in, I believe. But
Hello,
on that
Iggy.
note, say hi, Iggy.
Yeah. Look at the visuals. Look at the visuals, and you'll see Zach's
we
dog, Iggy.
dropped to the greyhound. Iggy, come. Look at this. Come here. I don't know if you can see him very well, but here he is. Lovely Iggy. He's almost as big as a horse. And I was taking him for a walk. So it was nice to see you all. We'll see you next week on the Pint-Sized History Podcast. See you later.
See ya. Bye-bye.